How's it going, everyone? I'm Sean and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a custom neck pocket template for absolutely any style of guitar neck. So if you, like me, have designed your own kind of neck that may be a slight bit different from any off-the-shelf templates, you're going to need a neck pocket template. Now, one way to do that, obviously, is to draw it up in CAD and get proper templates made and everything. But if you, for whatever reason, say for example, need to sand a little bit more off the sides of this neck, it's not going to fit any kind of template that you have made and designed. So I'm going to show you how to make a totally custom, very easy, customizable template for absolutely any kind of neck. Now for this I'm going to be using this neck of the build that I'm currently working on. This is a multi-scale guitar, so the heel, as you might be able to see, is not actually 90 degrees to the center line. It is a bit slanted. That doesn't really make any kind of a difference here. The entire process is exactly the same. First things first, one of the best things you can do to make your life that little bit easier is to take the body and put it up on blocks. Now these blocks should be tall enough so that clamps can get in underneath. This kind of setup is really handy for a whole multitude of things, such as gluing on tops, so on and so forth. But in this case, it's going to allow us access to the underneath of the body as well as the top. After that, I'm going to clamp the neck onto the top of the body using a little caul to protect the frets, and I'm going to clamp it roughly where I want it to go, making sure I have it deep enough into the body for what I want, and try my best to line it up on the center line. At this stage it doesn't really matter if I get it on the center perfectly or not. Next up, we need a way to actually align the neck properly and accurately. To do that, I'm going to draw a line perpendicular to the center line at the butt of the guitar. Where exactly doesn't really matter, but the further away from the neck you can get, the more accurate your measurement will be. I'll take a meter ruler, align it with the side of the neck, and make a mark on that new crosshairs lines that I've made at the butt of the guitar. This shows me the projection of the neck, and effectively I can now use these projection lines to line up the neck so that each projection is aligned the same distance from the center line on both sides. As we can see from these two marks that I've made on my reference line, this neck is wildly out of line. Those projection lines, combined with the center line that I have drawn on the heel of the neck, will serve as a visual guide to tell me if my neck has been aligned correctly. Now, instead of adjusting, remarking, and faffing around back and forth, making a load of marks on this reference line, what I will now do at this stage is measure the distance between these two marks, take that distance, divide it in two, and mark that on either side of the center line. I always draw arrows to my correct reference marks, just so I don't get confused. It's also a good idea to double check this. Then all I need to do is line up the neck so that it hits these two new reference marks. And the neck should, in theory, be aligned correctly. Once you have the neck lined up, we need to crank down on this clamp that holds the neck down, just to make sure it doesn't move at all. After tightening the clamp, it's a good idea to just double check, make sure things are still aligned nicely. Now we've done the difficult part of this, the fiddly part. The neck is on, it is clamped down nice and tight, it is aligned correctly. Time to actually build the template. So to do this, we will be using some pieces of MDF. These are ones that I guess I've shaped a bit more nicely. They're the same size. You can use absolutely anything you want, any kind of scrap. I'm using MDF because it's relatively stable, and yeah, it's what I had lying around. Plywood, absolutely perfect. Chipboard if you want, whatever. I've doubled up these pieces of MDF so that they're now 12 mil thick, and they're kind of rigid. Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but the more rigid, the better. One thing you do want to avoid though is making these too thick. If you go up to like 18 or 25 mil, that could be a little bit thick and you might not be able to get the depth of the neck pocket. So just watch out for that. The concept of using these is very, very straightforward. I'm going to take one each side of the neck. I'm going to use super glue and masking tape and stick these down to the body, holding them up nice and tight against the neck. I'll make sure as well that they're actually sticking out over the body enough. I'm going to say roughly here I'm going to go to about the 9th fret, so quite a bit far out. You want that extra reach. What you don't want to do is to place these so that they're barely hanging on over the edge of the body, and then your router can tip or anything like that. So I'll go ahead and I'll stick these down, making absolutely sure I have a hand either side of the clamp when I do stick them down to make sure that I'm holding them really, really nice, snug and tight against the neck itself. With the sides in place, the only thing left to do is to put in an end stop block. As this is a multi-scale, the block I'm using has a face that is at a bit of an angle, just so that it butts up against the end of the neck while still staying between the sides. As you see, I've got a little bit of a gap. My end block is slightly smaller than the actual gap of the neck. That's absolutely perfectly fine, so long as that gap is smaller than the bit that you're going to be using to route out this neck pocket. So I'm just sticking in this end block with super glue and masking tape, exactly the same. And lastly, I'll cut away any pieces of masking tape that are on the top surface of our new template, as potentially they can get in the way of the router, or at the worst case scenario, they could alter the neck angle just the tiniest amount. With the addition of that end block, our template is effectively complete. So very carefully, I'm going to loosen this clamp. I'm holding the neck, making sure it doesn't move or twist or anything as I unclamp it. Getting the clamp loose until I can lift it out of the way. And now this is also an important step. I'm waiting to feel and see how tight this pocket actually is. I want a little bit of resistance as it comes up. And very importantly, I'm going to lift it straight up. You do not want to pull it out. As it's tapered, it will move the template. So just bringing it up, and hopefully you can even hear there's a bit of grab there. Up it comes. This is pretty much bang on. This is exactly what I want. Now, if I want to put it back in, make sure to put the neck too far back towards the body, like so, and pulling it forward like this until it just sits in. This is always how you should place a neck into a neck pocket. So this is very, very good, but I want to make it that tiny bit extra tight just to make sure that my neck pocket is as good as it can possibly be. So I'll take some masking tape. I'm going to take off roughly a piece long enough to be able to fit the entire neck pocket. And I'll just put it onto the side of the template. For the sides, I'll just lay it over top, making sure there are no creases. That's absolutely fine. It won't alter anything because the router will always be sitting on top of it. And then I shall repeat the same on the other side. With the addition of that tape, I can then do a quick cleanup, and this is my neck pocket, absolutely custom made for this neck. And if I want to put it back in now, it's just that little bit too tight, which is absolutely perfect. That is what I want for this. Because basically, once I have that neck pocket done, I can always tweak the neck just that little amount to get it to be the absolute perfect fit. And that is exactly how you make a perfectly fitting custom neck pocket template for any neck that you have. Standard scale, multi-scale, anything else weird, you just have to shape the end. Thank you very much for watching. I hope if you try this out, it works perfectly for you as well as it will for me. Make sure and hit that like, subscribe, bell notification, all of those buttons. Stick around for more tips and tricks, and thank you very much.